Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm just doing a quick and dirty video. I didn't really have much going on this week, but I really wanted to swap out the pickups on this 1998 Les Paul Special. It's definitely seen better days, but it's like a workhorse guitar. It sounds great, it plays great. I have EMG 57 and 66 pickups in here with the coil split option. And to be honest, I have active pickups in all my guitars, pretty much. And I'm really just looking for something a little bit different. And really, when it comes down to this guitar, I have it tuned to drop A sharp. I really like the feel of really big loose strings on a short scale Gibson style guitar. I don't know why, it just has a really nice chunky feel to it. And to be honest, I'm hoping that a medium output passive pickup might be a little bit better fit for that low tuning kind of real chunky growl that I'm going for with this guitar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly play some clips, clean, crunch, high gain stuff through this EVH Stealth so you can hear what these active EMG pickups sound like, which they sound great, but I'm just looking for something with a little bit different flavor. And I'm gonna swap out the pickups and we'll come back and I'll plug it in and we'll listen to the passives. I got a couple Seymour Duncan pickups that I picked up, and yeah, well, you all can debate whether active versus passive versus whatever. I like both. And so let's get to it. All right, so first up, let's just play some cleans. Yeah, not bad. I like the cleans on the neck pickup on this a lot. It really has a nice PAF style like sound. Being actives though, I do still think that the clean tones on these are a little sterile compared to what I expect from the passives, but let's go to the crunch. I'm going to turn on my Mud Killer boost. Onto the red channel, high gain. Yeah, so overall, I think that the EMGs are cool. I do think in the lower tuning that when the really high gain stuff kicks in, I am getting a little bit of lack of clarity. And really, I don't have the gain super high on here. The EVH Stealth is a very gain heavy amp anyway, but even on the crunch channel boosted, sounds pretty good. I'm just looking for something different. I don't know. We'll see what they sound like when I get the passives in here. So let's get on to that. All right, so I got the new pickups installed, and let's see what I went with. In the bridge, I have a Seymour Duncan SH12, which is the Screaming Demon, the George Lynch pickup. I went ahead and I put my P90 Phat Cat Seymour Duncan humbucker sized in the neck. What I went ahead and did with this job is I went ahead and I wired it up more like a traditional Les Paul, with the tone caps between the pots. I have everything running in the Les Paul modern style with the switching, etc. And it came out pretty good. Alright guys, so I have the pickups all wired up like you saw. I got the Screaming Demon SH12 in the bridge, and I got the Phat Cat P90 in the neck. So it's not really a fair comparison between the two sets of pickups. Regardless, I just want to see how a passive set of pickups sounds in this guitar, tuned down to drop A sharp, and I just kind of want to see if I like the feel, if I like the tone, whatever that means. It's fun to experiment, and I want to see if diving back into passive pickups is really where I want to go, because, like I said, most of my guitars have active pickups. So let's try some clean tones first and see how those sound. Alright, so right off the bat with the clean tones on the passive pickups, way more low end. Just, I mean, hands down in the room, hopefully it's being picked up on the mic. It's not comparable. Like the amount of low end kind of resonance that's coming through these pickups is way different. With that said, I also have the coil split option going on the bridge pickup, which you probably heard a little bit of that. Honestly, the middle position between these two pickups, really cool sounding, like probably one of my favorites. A really good blend of high-end, kind of spanky kind of tone with that really nice full bottom end. The P90 pickup in the neck has a lot of low end. I would have to probably mess with the EQ a bit to get it to where I like it, but right off the bat, these passive pickups definitely kill the active pickups, at least the EMGs, when it comes to clean tones. And I already kind of knew that was going to be the case, because EMG 81s are probably some of my least favorite sounding clean tones ever. But the 57 and the 66 set seem to be a bit better, a bit more defined. I know they're trying to go for that old, like 1957 PAF sound in an active form. I think they get there kinda. I think this Screaming Demon is a little bit closer, a little bit more mid-range than a classic PAF, but being that it's only a 10K output or a 10K DC resistance, which indicates that it's kind of on the lower output scale, it just seems to hit those notes a little bit better. So let's move on to crunch and get into the high gain stuff, because that's what I do mostly. So on the blue channel, crunch channel, on the EVH, with and without the mud killer boost engaged, there's something going on in that low mid range that, unlike the EMGs, it almost has this like looser, saggier feel when you're kind of chugging on it. I don't know if that's going to translate very well into the microphone, into the DAW, but just in the room, it's a bit more percussive sounding overall. And the high end on this pickup is much less present. It's a little bit darker, and there's a bit more like mid-range. I don't want to use the term girth because I use that term a lot, but the mid-range is just broader. And I think that's pretty apparent even with the, especially with the boost off. The other thing that's different about this bridge pickup, you know, it is on the lower output side, and it does seem to have a bit more definition in just individual notes. You know, when you get some of those high output pickups and you get gain going, it gets really easy to kind of mud up when you start to push it a little bit. I think with the lower output on these, you know, lower tuning, thicker strings, it helps keep some of that note definition intact. There just seems to be a little bit nicer, rounder thing going on, and I'm going to be really curious to hear what it sounds like, you know, playing it back, because in the room, it's just less harsh. Maybe that's a good thing. Let's go onto the red channel with the really high gain and see what that does. My expectation here is it's going to be pretty low end heavy, and that may or may not be a good thing. One of the cool things about this bridge pickup is however it's voiced, however they got it wound up, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that instead of slugs, there's these hex screw pole pieces. The harmonic ring out and the mid-range, like getting pinch harmonics on this thing is way easier than some of the other passive pickups I've played in the past. And maybe the low output has something to do with that. Regardless, it's really good for that. It is a bit low end heavy, and this pickup in particular doesn't tighten up as well as like the 57 does. The 57 is a pretty tight pickup. I think most active pickups are pretty tight for high gain stuff. I'm going to dial in the EQ just a tad to see if I can't tighten it up just a little bit and see if I can't make it sound just as tight as any active pickup that I would have. Yeah, so that right away, just turning the low on the EQ down a little bit, giving a little bit more highs and a little bit more presence, way tighter, way less, muddy, and a really nice sound in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and give some love to the neck pickup using the blue channel, just to give you some idea of kind of what this P90 style pickup can do with some gain. Much of like a lead guitar player. Like, I know blues, I know that kind of stuff. If you're playing some kind of crunchy, stuff that's not in the metal realm, this is a really nice pickup. I mainly like it for the clean tones, but one thing that it's also pretty good at, and I think when you listen to guys like Yngwie Malmsteen who get really like, single coils are the best way to go for shredding, and a lot of the guys back in the 80s, they used single coil pickups too when they were doing some of their shred stuff. So let's hear what it sounds like with a lot of gain and see if it can't emulate some of that same kind of flavor. Being that it's a neck position, it's not super good for chugs, but I mean, it is a really gnarly, fat sounding pickup. Now, if we do like the coil split on the bridge pickup with some high gain, it gets pretty spanky. Which that can be useful for some things. Kind of mixing that in behind like a more beefy like humbucker track, get a little bit more spank, a little bit more punch out of it, sure. There are some noticeable drawbacks about passive pickups. As someone who's played with actives for a long time now, I was really spoiled with how quiet the active pickups really are. Passives though, there's a lot of copper being wound up around, around pole pieces that are attached to a magnet, etc. And I was getting more of a noise floor, more electromagnetic interference. Things were just affecting these pickups a lot more than any of my actives. Passive pickups tend to have more noise issues. Single coils obviously are going to be noisy, but even humbuckers can be susceptible to the environmental interference of electricity. Even with proper shielding, it's just nothing's ever foolproof. But honestly, I use a gate, and it's only noticeable when you're playing really high gain. And so because of that, I'm just going to have to deal with that fact going forward, because I think there's a couple more pickup types that I'm really jonesing to try out, especially like some of these like hyper high output pickups that have been kind of showing back up. I have a Seymour Duncan slug pickup on the way. It's like 47K DC resistance, so we'll see what that does. I think we've already seen plenty of talk about how pickups don't matter for high gain. I don't know if that's completely true. I think just in the room right now, I'm hearing things and it's definitely affecting the way the guitar feels to play. So I think a lot can be said that from your hands to the strings, to the pickups, to the amp, to the speaker, that whole signal chain basically is a domino effect of stuff that's happening within like a millisecond and so or less. When something within that signal chain just isn't quite syncing up or isn't quite, meshing with what you're wanting to hear or what your brain is perceiving, I think it can really affect the way that you play and how you ultimately end up sounding. So, it's all a system. It's all a system with components that have to all kind of, sync up. So anyway, I'm gonna just kind of chug around on, the high gain channel on the EVH with the bridge pickup here. And so with that, you know, later.